without opportunity for all you out there who wish to say a few words about Kelly. You can come down and speak here, or there are two friends, two friends of Kelly's are going to be walking around with a roving mic, and you can indicate if you want to speak. Anybody would like to come down and speak? Up there. I'll come down.
Hi everybody. I just wanted a chance to talk about the mental health side of it. So being someone who suffers from depression as well, I can tell you that it is the most isolated and lonely experience you can possibly imagine. And all of who you are as a character stands against you in your hardest hours. And knowing someone like Kelly, who bounces back with so much strength and grace, and has so much love to give to everybody, he is an absolute champion. And it gives me strength it gives me strength. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Michael Laidler, David Laidler's little brother, and I'd just like to share a few off-the-cuff memories of Kelly and why he meant so much to me. And I actually think there's a lot that I have in common with Kelly. I too had an older brother who constantly dominated me in basketball, and that's actually where I first met Kelly. I used to get so frustrated that I never beat David, so I used to go down to Nio school and practice by myself, hoping one day I'd surprise him. And then David and Kelly rocked up. Now, I'd heard whispers in dark corners about how good Kelly was. And the first play that he did on me, I swatted him like Dikembe Mutombo, and I thought, and I screamed like Russell Westbrook, and I felt great about it. That was my last ever success with Kelly, as he just dropped bombs on me. And the next time I tried to block him, bless him, I nearly broke his nose because I fumbled it so badly, and he just laughed. And he was just so kind to someone who was the sort of dorky third form younger brother, at that age when being a third former was almost considered a crime and everyone had to go through that. And he was always just, so kind and so silly. And I also remember him from, plays, and his singing and his sense of rhythm was questionable. I remember seeing him at the big day out, and we were watching Jet, and I was standing right next to him just by chance. Hadn't seen him in a while, and I saw him trying to clap in time. He didn't quite get there, but he was enjoying himself, and that was the main thing. I remember sometimes his silly humor and his logic. One time he wanted to go visit some friends up in Waikanai, and he was finishing work late, so he said that he was going to run there. And my brother had to call him up and convince him that you cannot run from Te Papa to Waikanai. Thankfully, he didn't attempt that one. On a more serious note, I too have suffered from depression my entire life, and I can agree and concur with the last speaker that it can be quite paralyzing. However, it's incredibly inspiring to know that someone that struggled so badly could still not only have a smile on his face, but really pick himself up, get himself out there and go travel, and that really gives me a hell of a lot of inspiration. I'd just like to say, in the sixth book of the Iliad, Homer says that, human life is like leaves on a tree that falls off and is scattered by the winds, and more leaves eventually grow, the circle of life. And I think we can all concur that we are glad and proud and honoured that we were part of his circle in his time. Thank you.
My name is Toshihisa Takada, Ambassador of Japan to New Zealand. Of course, it is with heavy heart that I'm here, remembering and commemorating and celebrating the life of Kelly Savage. He departed from Wellington in 2015 to participate in a JET program. And I have been here for 2 years. And one of my first official function was the farewell reception party at my residence 2 years ago. So I myself must have met him once. And as you saw today, I think Kelly was, in many ways, the ideal JET participant, adored by his pupil, his student, and fellow workers and community members alike. I think this esteemed young man's work will live on through those people whose lives he touched, and also each pupil and student whose life he influenced will surely remember his kindness, warm heart, and his dedication. And his commendable deeds inspire all of us to continue working together towards friendship, mutual understanding, and cooperation between New Zealand and Japan. And we can take strength and comfort from the dedication Kelly put into his life. So please accept our heartfelt and most sincere condolences. Thank you.
Hello, for those that don't know me, I'm Alan, and I'm fortunate like so many other people here to have met Kelly at college. I wanted to come today to say goodbye to Kelly. I haven't seen him in over 10 years, but I have some truly amazing memories of him that I just had to come today. So he was the token white boy in our third form of Year 9 Māori class. The only white boy in the class. I mean, no racism by that. It was just, at college, it was cool to see a non-Māori in Māori class. And not just Māori, we didn't share just that class. I think I shared every single drama class with Kelly from third form until my last year in sixth form. And he was just the friendliest guy you could have ever met. Funny, and just would just say hello to you, regardless of if you were close friends or just someone that you shared a class with. I was extra lucky too. I think it might have been my fourth or fifth form year we were chosen to film a piece on bullying in college, and we were famous, and it was we were on What Now, so we knew we made it when we got on What Now, so that was the fondest memory I have of him. And when I learned of his death, it kind of shook me, because he was the first one, I think, in our year that I know of that has passed away. I said I was going to cry, so I want to run my face, and I've been trying so hard not to. We weren't the closest of friends, but I had to come and just be here today, and I'm grateful to have heard so many stories of the character and the kind of person that he is and was. And I wanted to pass on my condolences to Kelly's family. He was an amazing guy, and I cherish the memories that I have of him. And I just hope one day that we talk more about depression, because I had no idea that Kelly ever suffered from it. And kids can be cruel sometimes, and I think back to our college years, and I just wish bullying wasn't a way of life, and that kids didn't suffer from it or partake in bullying. And I'd hope that things that might have been said in college didn't really influence or play a part in Kelly's depression or his mental health. But yeah, he truly humble, amazing boy that I have some awesome memories of, and just want to say my sympathies to you and Kelly's family. So thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephen Tatt. Kelly was one of my best friends, and upon hearing about his passing, you go through, I'm sure everyone else has, a sort of emotional roller coaster, and it began with sort of confusion, sort of bizarre sense of feeling, sort of followed by deep sadness, and then finally sort of pride, and gratefulness, and being able to have sort of grown up with Kelly. We met when we were 13, and we sort of grew up together in Koroi, moving from young adult, from teenager to a young adult, pushing trolleys at New World, to university, and into the real world. And the thing I probably most remember is his personality. I mean, if you really think about it, he's quite a ridiculous person. Particularly his laugh, it was booming and very engaging. And a lot of his friends today have sort of shared some great stories about his traits, but I'd just like to touch on one, which is sort of Kelly's sort of trickery and his cunning. He's a very clever guy. And this was one of my first experiences with Kelly. I'm from Corey West Normal School. He's from KNS, so I first met him at the Corey Rec Centre, and given the sort of long-standing rivalry, he sort of approached me with, I guess, trepidation and a certain level of cautiousness. You know, who's this guy? And he told me that in order to be accepted into the K-Time crew, the little gang we had, you must buy me and everyone else a Lift Plus. And it seemed normal at the time, and I bought them, but then sort of on reflection, he ran a pretty good scam. And then there's more examples of that, but we don't need to get into that. And then I thought I'd just like to share probably my favourite memory of Kelly. It was at my 21st, and he gave a speech, and after he said some really nice things, he decided to describe our relationship as one comparable to Romeo and Juliet. I don't know who was Romeo and who was Juliet, and that there was a struggle between the Montagues and the Capulets. I guess it reflected our parents. That's not really true. But the point being that there's a really strong bond between us that could never be broken So I'd just like to finish off by saying, Kelly, I love you and I miss you a lot, and sort of in line with the Lion King theme, long live the king.
Hi, just real quick, just reflecting on all this basketball talk, I just realised how much basketball I've watched, and I hate basketball, and it's purely because of Kelly. I watched Wellington team, I watched Kelly play, I watched random dudes play, I watched high school boys play, I watched high school girls play, and the only reason I went to any of those games was because Kelly convinced me it was a good idea. Other memories, typically I'd go and see him to Papa. He'd say something like, oh, I just had a nap in that dark corner over there. And we'd talk about girls for about half an hour while the visitors touched the precious Tonga. That was kind of our relationship. Sorry to keep running into Papa. That's all. Thanks.
My name's Melissa. I first met Kelly at Kappa when I was working there for a short stint of time, and I will always remember his smile. So welcoming to everybody who came through those doors. Sorry, not very good at these kind of things. I got to know Kelly better when I was working at the Embassy of Japan and Martha. They both came in to do Japanese classes that we were running in the evenings. The letter that was read out about Kelly receiving the notification to go to Japan, the email came from me. I tried to call him. Obviously he was out of the country and I couldn't get a hold of him. I know that I wanted to give him the news in person, as close to in person as I could, over the phone. We had to resort to email. But I've seen hundreds of people to Japan on the JET program, and Kelly is one example. His response when I was able to send him over by email was just, it was fulfilling a lifelong dream. And I know that so many of you have spoken about that. And I'm just really pleased to hear from his students and everybody. And despite how things ended, I'm just so pleased that he was able to go over and represent New Zealand on the program and make such a difference to the lives of their children. And I want to thank you all, however you encouraged him along the way to turn into the brilliant person that he was. And thank you so much for all the time that we had with him. Thanks.
Hello everyone. My name is Joshua. I knew Kelly in high school and unfortunately we fell out of contact after high school. But I wasn't sure if I would be able to speak today, but I felt like I would like to say something on behalf of the circle of friends that I moved in during high school and of which Kelly was a part of. I think a lot of testament has come from people today about Kelly's mischievous nature, which I definitely absolutely loved. And I think it's testament to his character that I can never remember having a negative conversation with Kelly, an argument with Kelly. and I can never remember him having an argument with any one of my friends or anyone in high school. He was just such a caring and loving person. I remember going over to Kelly's house, and similar testament to Angus's words, it wasn't really about what you were doing, whether it be going playing basketball, playing cricket in the backyard, playing poker. It was more actually about just spending time together, talking with each other, laughing together. Probably the one thing I remember the most about Kelly is just his such a unique laugh. And I think that's something that all of my friends will treasure. I've spoken to many of my friends that are living around the world. My sister, who is living in Cambodia, and whilst her contact was very brief with Kelly, she remembered him straight away when I told her the news. I think that's very much a testament to his character. I very much regret that we grew apart after we left high school, but I will always remember just the kindest person.
I didn't spend a lot of time with Kelly, I was doing past things, but I think it's a real testament to Kelly's character, and I think, as a lot of his friends have said, that, I could have just said the benefits in the background, but I wasn't, and it's because Kelly came up, and he always genuinely cared about who I was. He had something to say to me, he wanted to understand what was going on with me, and he actually kind of cared enough to come and make that happen, and not just be the person in the background. So, yeah, I was glad he was part of my life.
Hi. My name is Anna. I actually knew Kelly through my brother first, initially because I went to Korea and then also. But I was also teaching Japanese at Victoria University. There's some students down there. But I also worked with Kelly at a Japanese restaurant, Kazu, for a while. And I just wanted to mention how determined he was to learn all the language and all the customs, and how hardworking he was. And no matter how busy we got, he was always smiling. It was like sweat pouring down his face, but he was always smiling. And he was just such a great guy to have around. And he was really determined to go to Japan. And it was just, really lovely to have him around and have a good friend as well. Thanks.
I'd like to call on Pat.
I guess we wanted to kind of focus this celebration on Kelly's life and what he meant to all of us. But we did also want to just sort of share some information about the circumstances of his death and what we're trying to do to make sure it doesn't happen to other people. So you probably already have read about it, but just I guess sorry, I haven't really prepared anything, so I may kind of ramble a bit. But just the sort of the basic facts. As we talked about, he was in hospital back in 2012 for about a month. At the time, he was diagnosed as depression with psychosis. But in his most recent hospitalization, he was diagnosed as bipolar. So often, apparently, bipolar is sort of misdiagnosed as depression early on. And it was really nice to hear. I'm sorry I didn't catch her name, but Kelly's colleague at Te Papa saying how he talked, how he was kind of honest and shared about his, being in hospital for depression. And, he talked about it a little bit on Facebook and with people. He wasn't like, gung-ho activist, like, talking about mental health, but he wanted people to know that he struggled and that it's something that people should be open about. And that's one of the reasons that we felt like we wanted to kind of make his situation public so that other people would know that this is not something to be ashamed of and it's something that happens to everyone. So yeah, he was in the hospital then, and then he went back in hospital in April, and unfortunately the situation in Japan is that it's quite common to restrain psychiatric patients in the bed. So he was restrained in his bed for 10 days, and then he had a cardiac arrest, which led to his death a week later. The doctors at his cardiologist suspects that it may have been due to deep vein thrombosis, which is like a blood clot that develops in your leg when you can't move, and that can get dislodged and go up in your bloodstream up to your heart up to your lungs and stop your lungs and heart. So the autopsy was inconclusive, so we'll never know for sure, but it's certainly a suspicion. And whether or not it actually caused his death or not, we didn't realize until it was too late that there's so much risk associated with restraints, but it's well known around the world. And Japan is the only developed country that uses restraints so much and so long. And so whether or not it actually caused his death or not, we just wanted to use this as an example to kind of get the world and Japan and the world to realize that this is going on and that it needs to stop because it's, seems to be violating UN policies about the Convention on Torture and the treatment of people with mental health. And we felt because Kelly was so well loved and he was so open about his situation, and because he was, a foreigner in a foreigner in Japan, that maybe people would actually take notice, because this is probably happening all over the place, but other people just don't feel comfortable coming forward. And so, because he was so well loved, everyone was saying, "What can we do? What can we do? Can we tell people about this?" And some of Kelly's friends, Angus here and other friends, made sure that people at the New Zealand Herald knew. At first, when I called the Japanese papers to tell them this happened, they said, "Okay, thanks," and then didn't report anything. But when all his friends made sure that it got in the New Zealand Herald on the front page, and then suddenly it was all on the news in Japan, and then all around the world it was in the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Guardian, the UK, all over the place. So, and then thanks to that, most recently, so my mum and I held a press conference in Japan with a leading expert, Professor Hasegawa, who has been studying the practice of restraint and has been trying to advocate for it to be reduced in Japan. And so he's founded an organization that's dedicated to trying to deal with and bring the Japanese restraint practice in line with the international standards. And so we're really grateful that he and others have kind of stepped forward, because it's been sort of as much as we can bear to try to spend the last 2 months trying to make something happen from this. And so something is now happening. It's being discussed in Japan. The Minister of Health, Labour and Welfare has promised to investigate Kelly's situation in particular and the general practice of restraints throughout Japan. People are talking about it, throughout Japan and throughout the world. And so, people are saying, "What can we do?" But we've already done really what the main thing that needed to be done, which is make people know about this. We have also started a petition, which is available online in your little handouts. It has a link. So if you haven't already done so, you can go and add your name there and spread the word around. And we'll we'll try to keep updating things on Facebook and whatnot as progress happens. Of course, the minister has promised to investigate, but we'll kind of see whether, if and how that actually happens. But things seem promising so far that some kind of change may happen as a result of this. And I think, again, it's really a testament to Kelly, the strength of his character, how much love he gave everyone and how much love he received, that he and we as family and friends felt, that this had to be done and people had to know what a treasure they lost. So, thanks to you all for helping to make that happen. And I just wanted to let you know about an update on the situation. So, thanks.
thank you for all the offerings that everybody has given today. Our final offering today is a song called The Parting Glass, and it's going to be sung by Robin Brew.
Hello friends, is it alright if I sit in the front here, or will that throw you? No, you sit here. It's an honour for us to be helping to close this very moving event. Although I didn't know Kelly very well, I feel I know him a lot better now. This is a simple Irish farewell song, or 2 verses thereof. Sorry that the words aren't available at the moment, but for those who do and those who want to come along, I really encourage you to find your voice no matter how you feel it sounds. It is a song, essentially a farewell to the Dead, an Irish song. And I would like those of us who can to sing it with slowly and with great heart, which Kelly, you clearly have in abundance. I'll just give you a few words to start with, for those of you who don't know it. So if you have the courage to hum along, please feel free. Of all the money that ere I spent it in good company. That certainly spoke of him. And all the harm that ere I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night, and joy be with you all. And we'll see what we can do with that, and then I'll just give you the word for the second verse. But it's a song of beautiful spirit. Of all the money that ere I spent, I spent it in good company. Come along. And all the harm that ere I've done, alas, it was to none but me. That's lovely. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. I'm struggling with a loogie like a lot of you at the moment, I'm sorry. Of all the comrades that ere I had, they're sorry for my going away. And all the sweethearts that ere I've had, they'd wish me one more day to stay, hopefully. But since it falls into my lot, this is the speaker, that I should rise and you, Kelly, should not, I'll gently rise and softly call, good night, and joy be with you all, especially to you, dear Kelly. We won't sing that bit. Well, you could if you wish. Of all the comrades that ere I had. Of all the comrades that ere I had, they're sorry for my going away. And all the sweethearts, and all the sweethearts that ere I had, would wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls into my lot, but since it falls unto my lot, that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call, good night and joy be with you all.
night, Kelly.
As we come to this occasion, a wonderful occasion, we will have one last little time of silence, and then we will shake hands with each other as we have got to know Kelly today, and we've got to know each other. It is very good to see everybody sharing this time with Kelly and the family and his friends and his workmates. And one wonderful last way to show our care for Kelly is to place a rose by his photograph here. So if you'd like to come down and pass the 2 by 2, come down and come this way and then go up the back of the lecture hall to those fabulous cookies that we've been waiting for and learn a lot about.
I'm gonna check on some. Oh, gotta check on the.